Hey there everyone, and welcome to the Delacombe Primary School Grade 5-6 Numero Championship Final. This was an absolutely brilliant match between two of our finest, Nick and Madison. A big shout out to Mr. Cross because both these students have come from his class, with Nick starting off in the wildcards, making it all the way through to the championship, and then obviously Madison being the class champion from that grade. So Mr. Cross's room must have been hitting the numero really hard because these two students have shown throughout the final series that they are a cut above the rest. And so I'm super excited to get straight into their match and look at the big plays, the big takes that made this match a great final, and you can definitely pick up some tricks to learn from this one. So without wasting any more time, let us get straight into it. So you can see the match here starts with a 3 and a multiplied by 2 in the centre. And you can see Nick wastes no time at all. 3 times 2 is 6, and bang, first take of the day with a 6 here. Madison responds by discarding a 13 after the centre's been cleared. And then Nick, unable to work with that 13, discards a 12. Madison then comes in and just does a straight take to get rid of that 13, putting the pressure back on Nick, who does another straight take with a 12. So lots of straight takes early on, just putting the pressure back on their opponent to force them to discard every time that centre's cleared. And so now we've got an 8 discarded in the middle. Here again Nick comes with a second wildcard take. 8 take 3 is 5. And then Madison, knowing that the centre's cleared, discards a 9, to which Nick quickly builds by putting a 2 on top to make a build of 11. So that means Nick at this point has to have an 11 in his hand. So let's see how Maddie will respond to this. Unfortunately, she's unable to do anything, so chooses to discard a 14 instead. Now you can see here Nick could have just taken the 11 straight away, but he's actually spending some time thinking about it. But in the end, I think, he can't do anything else and takes the 11. But a sign of great players. Even though they know they've already got a build, they're always looking for more. And then Madison, another straight take of the 14 there. So Nick is forced, after the centre being cleared once again, to discard a 1. To which Maddie now gets in her first build, chucks a 10 on top to make the second build of 11. So in response to that, Nick obviously can't seem to work anything out, so decides to put down a 3/4 and a 10 in discarding 2 of his cards there. And here we go, Maddie takes her 11 and locks those cards away in the bank. And obviously for Nick, not being able to work with the 3/4 or the 10, is forced to discard a divide by 4, but because it's a wild card, his turn's not over, he decides to discard another wild card of 1/4, and then finally ends his turn discarding a number card of 5. Now Maddie's got a bit to work with here. It's really important that she can try and capitalise on some of those wild cards there, because as soon as you've got 3 or more wild cards and a couple of numbers in the middle, there's going to be lots and lots of possible options going on. And so you can really see, I know the video is sped up, but she's really taken her time thinking about this, but in the end has to just do a straight take matching the 5. But now you can see here, Nick has put 2/5 on top of the 10, making a 4. So he is now thinking, how can I capitalise on some of these cards? Now he goes 4 divided by 4, which equals a 1. And does he have a 1 in his hand? Yes, he does. Lovely take there for Nick, getting quite a few wild cards in that one there. Maddie quickly follows up by discarding a 10. And then Nick responds by discarding a 13. Good choice of card to get rid of 13, because it's one of those tricky prime numbers. It's only divisible by 1 in itself, so often can be hard to work with. So by discarding that one, he's not really giving his opponent Maddie as much to work with. And so after thinking for a really long time, Maddie can't seem to find anything. And so here we have a triple discard, a quadruple discard, and she has completely refreshed her hand. So she decided to give up on everything, chuck it all out there, and hope that she can, start hanging on to some good number cards to start making something happen. So this is a massive risk, and I guess she's really hoping at this point that Nick doesn't find a way to capitalize on the massive amount of cards that are in the center. I'm guessing that perhaps one of the reasons why she decided to go down this path was, again, the only thing she had in her hand was a 7, which is another nasty prime number. It makes it very, very difficult to work with. So let's now see, can Nick capitalize on all the points just right for the taking in the center now? Maddie's really hoping at this point, I'm sure, that he can't work anything out. And so you can see Nick, he's thinking about it, time's going past, he's really taking his time with this, and here he goes. So it looks like he's got 4/5 of, that's 10, so he's turned the 10 into an 8 by putting 4/5 on top. Now he's gone 1.5 times 8, building up to 12. What is he going to do next? Half of, what's that? It is a quarter. A quarter of 12 is 3. 3 times 5 is 15. Can he do anything more? 15 divided by 5 brings it back to 3, and there he has it. He's got the 3. What an unbelievable take. So let's just go through that again. From 10 to 4/5 of 10 is 8. 1.5 times 8 is 12. And then we've got a quarter of 12 is 3. 3 times 5, 15. 15 divided by 5 is 3, and then takes it with a 3. An unbelievable take. Congratulations, Nick. What a good one to put in the bank there and, score all those points in one go. That has really put the pressure back on Maddie to try and make something work now. So, looks like she's got something in mind. Let's see how she responds. She throws a 7 down onto the 13, making 20. And then it looks like she's got 3/4 of 20, which is 15. And there it is, a nice take with a 15 there. So, a quick response from Maddie after that massive take from Nick, but I'm not quite sure it'll be enough at this point. She's going to need to find some more ways to take control of some of those takes. Now, all that's left in the center is a square root. So Nick is without a number card. There's not much he can do, so he's going to be forced to discard a number card this turn. And so he starts by discarding a wild of take away 4. But because his turn's not over, he puts a 12 down, puts a take 4 back on top of the 12 to make a nice build of 8. So right now we know that Nick definitely has an 8 in his hand, but you can see there Maddie straight away scoops it up and takes that build away from him. So Nick, back in the exact same position he was in before, now he's going to be forced to discard some cards until he discards a number card. And so here I think he's trying to think about, well, what's the square root of 8? Unfortunately, this doesn't work out. It ends up being 2 and there's about 12 decimals on the end of it because 8 is not a square number. So the square root, you've really got to kind of visualize your numbers. Which ones make a square? So for example, 9 makes a perfect square. Therefore, put the square root on the 9, it turns it into a 3 because it's 3 times 3 is 9. So 8 doesn't make a square. So Nick realizes this and then separates it back out. And then after a little bit more thinking, decides just to discard that 8 that he had in his hand. Okay, and you can see Maddie there just sweeps in and does another straight take for the 3rd time in a row, forcing Nick to discard a number card. Okay, so now we've got a 6 and 11 in the center. And so Nick puts the 4 on the 11 to make a build of 15. Maddie looks like she's thinking for a little while and can't do anything, so discards a 14. And there we go, Nick takes his build of 15 and puts those points away in his pile, which seems to be growing a little bit faster than Maddie's over here. So Maddie really needs to continue to push her way into this match, and probably needs a little bit of luck at this point too, just to get something happening. But you can see there another straight take. What she really needs at this point is a few more takes with wilds. And then another straight take you saw from Nick there with the 6. As you can see here, it looks like Maddie has chosen to discard the end to the power of 3 card. One of the more challenging cards to use in the game of Numero. Basically what it means is whatever number you place this on top of is that number times itself and then times itself again. So for example, if you put it on a 2, it means 2 times 2 times 2. Now, a big mistake a lot of students make is they think it's additive, so they just think 2 plus 2 plus 2 and think that's 6. But no, it's multiplication, so 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. Put this card on a 3, then you get 3 times 3 is 9, and then times 3 again is 27. Put this number on a 4 and it goes 4 times 4 is 16, times 4 again it's 64. So this card makes numbers big very, very quickly, so a difficult one to use. But because it's a wild card, Maddie's turn's still not over, and she decides to discard 1/8. And now, playing a number card from her hand, she then puts the cube root on top, so 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 again is 8, and then 1/8 of that is 1. But, I think we might have had a bit of a mistake here because Maddie didn't have a 1 in her hand, so I think she was getting a bit ahead of herself with this build, and I think she needed an extra turn to make it. So instead, despite some really good thinking, she's forced to discard those cards and just hope that Nick can't capitalize on them. But it looks like here, Nick's already got a plan straight away. He begins with the same thing. So 2 to the power of 3 is 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 again is 8, 1/8 of it is 1. Oh no. Nick's had the build in his hand. He's snatched up exactly what Maddie was trying to do on her end, and he's taken that chance away from her. A devastating steal for Nick there of those cards. But now in response, it looks like Maddie is going to be able to use the square root card by chucking a 9 on top of that, because the square root of 9 is 3. So now she's made a build of 3. Really nice thinking. Oh, but for the second time, you wouldn't believe it, Nick has the card that she was chasing, and in another stroke of bad luck, Maddie has missed out again. And you can see there, just by her body language there, she is feeling defeated right now by just not starting some good stuff, and then Nick just always having the answer. So Nick just getting that little bit of extra luck in this match is really helping him get across the line and build up his little banker points there. And so now Maddie, feeling a little bit defeated, discards a 15 and is really hoping she can work her way back in this match. And you can see here in response, Nick is forced to discard, and he chooses to discard the cubed root card. Again, one of the most challenging cards to try and be successful with during the game of Numero. Again, it's the opposite of the n to the power of 3 card that was used before, so the n cube card. It's basically the inverse of that, so it's only really going to work with an 8, a 27 and a 64. To, instead of building those numbers up, bring them right back down again. So it'll be really interesting to see if either of these players able to use this card in a take. I'm really looking forward to seeing if these two can make it happen, because if there's anyone in our school that can, it is these two champions right here. Maddie can't this turn, so discards a 4. And so Nick comes in, he sees the 4 and he multiplies it by 4 to make 16. Let's see where he's going with this. And then what is that he's just put on? It's a half. Half of 16 is 8. Oh no, he's gonna do it. He's going to do it. He's put the cube root of 8, which is 2, and then followed it up with a 7 to make a build of 9. Unbelievable. Where does he come up with this? to go through that whole process in his head and work in 7, which is a prime number. Unbelievable. Let's just see if Maddie can respond to that, which is now a 9. Oh, she can. She can. She's done it. 9 take 2 is 7. She has successfully stolen all Nick's hard work, and she is going to snatch up that build, and there is nothing Nick can do about it. What a great turnaround. It might just be enough to get Maddie back in this match. And you can see now that once again she feels like, you can just sense that she's more energized again after that one, and she might just have a chance if again she can just start to have a little bit of luck behind her and start putting the pressure right back on Nick, who now is forced to discard 2.5 times and a 9. Let's see where this goes next. Can see Madison really thinking things out, but goes for something nice and simple. 9 divided by 3 equals 3. So now what is Nick doing here? He's discarded a divide by 2, but his turn's not over. He's got a 5 in his hand here, but then it looks like he's just spotted something. Here he goes. 13 and 5 is 18, and then 18 divided by 2 is 9. So he must have a 9 in his hand because he's made a nice build of 9 here. Can Maddie again try and steal some of Nick's good work? No, she can't, not this time. Has to discard a 7. So, is Nick going to snatch up his 9 straight away? Looks like he's thinking. He's thinking again. Can I go bigger? Always think, can you go bigger? What's he doing here? He puts 1/5 on 15 to make a 3. Then 3 squared, which is 3 times 3. He has made another 9. How did he even see that? How did he make that work? He has built 2 separate 9s here. We know he's got a 9 in his hand already. He is going in for the double take. First double take of the match. And Nick is known for this. He's known to be the master of the double take. And what a take that was. Absolute great thinking. And now let's see how Maddie follows it up. So 2.5 times 2, so double 2, and then add half of it again. Double 2 is 4, half of 2 is 1, so 4 and 1 is 5, and then 5 times 3 is 15. So she's made a build of 15, which means she must have 15 in her hand. Oh no, it looks like he's already got a plan. He drops 1/3 on the 15 to bring it back to 5, and then it looks like he's grabbing the 7. 5 and 7 is 12. Nick must have a 12 in his hand, and he's taken it straight away again. Oh, despite Maddie's best efforts putting these builds back together, apart from that massive one that Maddie was able to get from Nick, Nick seems to over and over again take those builds away from her and take control of this match. Maddie being forced to discard a 15. And then Nick discarding a 4, and you can see we're getting close into the end game. It looks like we've only got one card left in the pile. So here we've got 2/3 of 15 is 10, then 1/10 of 10 is 1, and then Maddie taking it with a 1. So really nice late take in the game there. But will it be enough? Not quite sure. Nick makes a straight match with a 4. Now you can see now that we've got no cards left. Those last takes are crucial because we know whoever makes the last take will win the remaining cards in the centre. Maddie, with the centre being cleared, is forced to discard 11, and then Nick again, with a stroke of luck, has 11 take 5 equaling 6 and stays in control of that last take. Maddie, with now nothing but a wild and a number card, is forced to discard both her cards. And now Nick is thinking, this is his, now that Maddie has 0 cards left, this is Nick's last option to do a take. If he can't do a take, he'll lose 2 cards from his pile because that's the number of cards he has left in his hands. Now he's thinking, still thinking, works out that no, he actually can't do anything. So he puts his cards down, but then that's where those cards were left in his hand, so he gets 2 cards removed from his pile, but he does manage to win the cards left in the centre for having the last take. And that concludes the final. And so now the cards are counted up, and so after all the points were scored, Maddie ended up with 135 points. So still a pretty great effort. She just didn't quite have the luck behind her today, because after we counted Nick's cards here, counting all the cards first, flipping them over and then doing the points, Nick got to a total of 262 points. So taking the clear victory for the championship final. So great match between both these players. They really, at different times in the match, put the pressure on each other, but overall a fantastic match and great job for a great final. Thanks everyone.